All right, what's going on? We got Brandon Schneider joining us right now on 95.7 The Game.
How you doing?
I got to get your bio, buddy, and I go way back with you, so I don't feel bad about doing it. Give me Schneider's update. President of Business Operations has to be one of them, right?
Yeah, just president.
Okay. Just
president.
Just president.
Keep it simple.
There you go.
Well, welcome, President of Business Operations and just all-around president. Let me ask you this. I mean, you're one of, I don't know how many people were with this team before Joe Lacob bought it, but you were.
That's true.
So, how many people are of the originals or the people who were here before Joe? And, that must not have been easy going from one ownership group to another and ascending.
So I don't know the answer to how many people were here. I think at this point, I've been with the Warriors in my 22nd season.
Wow.
I think there's 9 people that have been here longer than me.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Hausen, you guys know Marcus Huffman. That's two of them.
Right.
What I will say is I was one of 8 VPs and a president, and within a year and a half, I was the only one left.
Right.
So what I like to say is I think they just needed somebody to know where the bodies were buried. That's what allowed me to keep my job.
Well,
That's amazing.
It had to be more than that, though, seriously. Go ahead, Goo.
No, I was just going to ask you, speaking of where you started and where you've seen this organization come from, Joe Lacob joined our morning show last week, and I'll never forget the Chris Mullin retirement night and the booze. Do you ever, Brandon, pinch yourself coming into work now where you guys are at 4 championships later and the likes of Draymond Green, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson being the face of the franchise and playing ball in this new cathedral?
You know, it's funny. You're working so hard day to day. I don't know that we do as good of a job as we should do it, thinking about what we've been through. And I think part of it is because it's not done, right? We got opening night tomorrow. We're still going. Right. But what you're saying is totally right. I mean, people don't remember, there was an 18-year span where we made the playoffs once.
Wow.
And that's in a league where 16 out of 30 teams make it. I mean, it's kind of hard to do, actually. So that ended in 12-13 when we went and started this current run. So you had that sort of backdrop. And then when Joe and Peter bought the team, everything changed. I mean, I think we all know November 2010 was the biggest turning point. And then to go through, the success. I mean, look, 6 finals appearances, 4 championships in the last 9 years. The 3 Hall of Famers that you're talking about, among others. I mean, we just had Andre, who just announced his retirement, and now we got another one on the team with Chris Paul. And then you said, we're sitting here in Chase Center, which, is a building that we're really proud of. Obviously, $2.1 billion privately financed. So the investment was there from Joe and Peter. But it's been an incredible run, and we're looking forward to another season to extend it.
Let me ask you this, Brandon, because we're talking to Brandon Schneider, President and Chief Operating Officer of the Golden State Warriors. So you've been here 22 years. That puts you here in the early 2000s. And, with the Eric Musselman, et cetera, how much bigger is this organization than it was 20 years ago? I mean, I'm talking about in terms of departments and employees and branches of an organization starting that have never been there before.
So it's actually a very good question. It's funny for those listening. It's like, well, I don't. What do you mean?
Right.
When I started here, I think we had about 75 people. Today we have 584.
Exactly.
So just the sheer and that's just full-time employees, by the way. We've got another 4,000 part-time employees, 1,500 people per game. You're talking ushers and security guards and ticket takers and box office and food and beverage, all those things. And then in terms of the breadth of what we do, all those employees aren't here. We've got people in Santa Cruz running our G League team. We've got people in Los Angeles running our esports teams. We've got Golden State Entertainment. We're investing in technology companies. So we've expanded into all these other businesses, not to mention concerts, right? We have more concerts and other events here than we have Warriors games. And then the latest thing that everyone heard about a couple weeks ago, we just bought an expansion WNBA team that'll start playing here at Chase Center in 2025. So, we started as a basketball team, as a tenant at Oracle Arena, and we've transformed into this sports, entertainment, technology, real estate company that we are today.
I'm curious. We just had Kalin in here, and we talked about his journey. Mike Dunleavy was in here, and I talked about his transition from a player to where he's at now. And, Brandon, for the people listening that want to be the next Brandon Schneider, from afar, I'm always curious because you're a big part of this thing that is the Golden State Warriors. How do you self-analyze yourself over the years to where you get better or things you can work on? I'm always curious because I always apply that to the players, but also to the executives.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think just like anything else, you get a job or anything you do in life. Like I have a 6-year-old son, and one of the things we talk about is like just do the very best you can do at everything you do. Like if you're going to play soccer or basketball, baseball, or you're going to go to school and do math or whatever, everything you do the best you can do. I mean, that's the simplest way to say it. And I think nowadays you look at, and we have, I said 584 people that work with us, and we try and teach them, the right habits. Like come in, do your job really well, and be a team player. Like figure out what things you can do to help the organization, because it's not about Brandon Schneider or Raymond Ritter or anybody else. It's about the Golden State Warriors. So what can you do to help the greater good? And in our case, ultimately, like what we're trying to do, number one, win championships. And luckily we've done some of that, hopefully more to come. We want to do great things in the community, and we want to provide incredible experiences for our fans all over the world, but specifically here in the Bay Area, people coming to Chase Center.
So in essence, you have some employees that have nothing to do with the team itself, right?
So you're talking about like Santa Cruz or esports?
No, I'm talking about who books concerts in here.
Yeah.
They don't overlap with what the Warriors do, right?
Yeah, totally separate. But, what we work to do, Matt, is we want to make sure everyone feels like we're one organization. So we have people doing all these different jobs, but we have just like a company outside of sports, a mission, vision, values to say like, here's what we're trying to accomplish as an organization. And fans listening, all what we think, when we think Golden State Warriors, you think Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, Steve Kerr, right? Like, and rightfully so. But there's a lot going on behind the scenes. So specifically, like being exact, like, yes, the people that are booking concerts, like that's really their focus, but we want to have a lot of cross-pollination, so we're all working together as a team. The sum of the parts is greater than the individual pieces, right? And that really is something that's important to us.
Tomorrow, it's a natural excitement. It's the beginning of a new year. And we were on remote last week, and we asked the fans, what does Kevin Durant deserve? And I told my partner, I'm excited, not just for the season, as I'd mentioned, but the applause he's going to get, or I'm going to give him. Brandon, can I ask you, what does Kevin Durant's time in the Warrior uniform mean to you?
I think you said it really well. So specifically, what does it mean to me? He was an incredible part of this incredible era that we've had. Look, I'm a diehard Bay Area sports fan, just like everyone else, hopefully listening. I grew up in the Bay, so I've been here my whole life other than college. So, to get to be a part of, and look, I work here, but for all of us as fans, to get to be a part of this era, to go to the finals 6 times in 9 years, win 4 championships, like that just doesn't happen, especially in modern era of sports. Like when we went to the finals 5 years in a row, no one in the NBA had done that since the Celtics in the 60s. By the way, there was like 8 teams in the league back then. The Islanders did it in hockey in 1984. That was the last team in any major sport. So for us as fans to get to go through this era, and then you look at Kevin Durant, he was only here 3 years. What did we do in those 3 years? We won 2 championships, and then we went to the finals, and if we hadn't had injuries, who knows? We might have won a 3rd. So, when you think about the significance and just the way he did it too, right? He came here, was entrenched in the community, Boys and Girls Club, all the different things that he was a part of. So he was like the perfect teammate for all of us. We are so just appreciative of his time, and I know the fans will be too. The only thing that's weird about all of it is his last year here was 2018-19, and he did play here once, but it was during COVID when I was here with like 100 of my closest friends. Like our fans haven't had a chance to see it, so it's been 4 years, which is kind of weird, but he's going to get an incredible ovation tomorrow night, and it's obviously very well deserved.
No doubt.
Brandon Schneider joining us here on 95.7 The Game, President and Chief Operating Officer of the Warriors. One of the things we talk about a lot is the Warriors, and my mind always goes to the future and what's going to happen down the road. The players are getting a little older. Let me ask you this: have you, as a business entity, strategized at all about what happens after Steph Curry leaves?
Well, no! Yeah, exactly. Is that ever going to happen?
Do you have to?
So I'll say
from a strategic standpoint.
No, it's a totally fair question, man. I'm going to answer in 2 ways. So the answer is, yeah, you have to, but I wouldn't even say it's specifically that, because we talked about 5 minutes ago. We had an 18-year span where we were not good, and then you transitioned to good. And a lot of what we've done, we've kept the same. Like we treat people the same way. Back then we couldn't lose one season ticket holder because there was no one waiting to come in. Now we've got 40,000 people on a wait list for season tickets. tickets, but our goal is to not act like that. Like, we want to treat you the same way we did when we didn't have someone waiting in line. So we do talk about, like, how do we continue to move things forward, whether the team's good or not. Because in sports, you have ups and downs. Now, if Joe Lacob was sitting here, he would disagree with that. He would say we're always going to be good. But nonetheless, to your point, we definitely talk about, like, what can we do? And part of that was building Chase Center. Like, we want to make sure you have an unbelievable experience. And obviously, the product on the court or the concert's a big piece of that. But the food and beverage and the transportation, everything about it. And then the work we do in the community, we think is important. Like, we're so fortunate to have incredible support from everyone across the Bay. We want to pay that forward. We want to give that back and make sure we're helping. Our foundation's given out over $30 million in the last several years, all through the Bay, educational equity. So all that's really important to us. And then the other thing I would say, Matt, like, you asked specifically about when Steph moves on, but just, I would say, I mean, look, getting to watch Steph Curry, like, we are all so fortunate over the last now 15 years, this will be his 15th season, to get to watch one of the best players of all time who's successful, but the way he does it, and what a good person. I mean, we go on and on about Steph Curry, but a lot of it's like, again, that invariable up and down. And I think because of the investment from Joe Lacob and Peter Guber, like, we're always going to be good. Like, these guys have never taken a dollar out of this thing. So everything we do gets reinvested, whether it was to build Chase Center, privately financed, $2.1 billion, crazy, or to build the basketball team. And there's, I mean, that's going to continue.
Wow. Appreciate it, man.
No doubt. Good stuff.
There's something about this season that's got me really excited. I think it's the unknown, but best of luck to you. Thank you for joining us. Brandon Schneider, President and Chief Operating Officer of the Golden State Warriors.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thanks.
All right.